welcome back. Or if you're a Beyond Gardens virgin, welcome for the first time. We are here in the studio awaiting your call, and you are dictating what we'll talk about. There are a couple of ways that you can get in touch with us direct, because this is a live program. If you're watching it on a Wednesday evening, that is. If you're watching it on a Saturday, sorry, that was a few days ago. How do you get in touch?
Yes, you can call, not we can call you. You can call us at 6468 5994, or you can email us at tv@beyondgardens.com.au.
And we have a few emails in, which we'll get to in a moment, but we thought we'd start this particular section by looking at an iconic tree, I think it's fair to say, associated with civilization over the past about 5,000 years or so. It's the olive, but not everything that you see in the olive garden is rosy. The olive is a truly remarkable tree. It grows just about anywhere with almost no care at all, and it rewards us with these incredible fruits. This tree is only 5 years old and it's producing masses of fruit, but there is one thing we do have to be careful of. If you don't pick the fruit, or your neighbour doesn't pick the fruit, gravity is going to take it down to the ground, and the birds will help themselves. They'll fly off and plant a new olive. The trouble is, the olive they plant is not the same as this one. The wild olive is a real weedy species, so please, if you grow an olive, pick your olives. Which leads us nicely into the subject of weeds, the olive being one big potential weed. Depends who you listen to. Often lots of different opinions about weeds too. But here are some fairly common plants that have leapt over the garden fence and become established in the wild. None better at it than cooch.
I tell you, cooch is becoming a real problem. I live near the beach, and this stuff is actually climatising to the environment and spreading all through the dunes and a range of places. So please be careful when you throw the material out or allow it to go onto the neighbour's block or whatever. It's one of those ones that really glyphosate's our only option these days.
And in a smaller way, the cooch lawns are remarkably tough and hardy lawn that repairs itself very quickly. But when people use these lawn edges and throw little bits of cooch up, it's a great way of spreading cooch.
Absolutely, particularly when it lands in the gutter, it rains the next day, it gets taken into the stormwater drains, and it's a great way to spread cooch and weeds.
And actually look at every wetland around,
yes, absolutely.
full of cooch.
Yep.
If only all plants were as easy to grow. Well, actually, this one is too. This is Watsonia. Not that I think anybody bothers to grow it anymore. You can see it crowding out some of the locals there. There's donkey orchids in the foreground. And unfortunately for us, Watsonia was introduced a while ago and is now thoroughly established. But in a strange twist, although Watsonia for us is a terrible weed in its native South Africa, it's an endangered species. So if there are South Africans taking part in the program tonight, please go and dig up a whole suitcase full of Watsonia bulbs and send them home, okay? They'll be appreciated, and we'll like it too. So that's Watsonia, and the next one is also well established, unfortunately. This is the arum lily, and it's got a strange association, because for some people it's a peace, it's a welcome, and for others it's death.
Yeah, absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. And it is quite toxic to some stock as well, and you usually will see it on horse paddocks and things as you drive down the freeway towards your Baldivis Wellard areas. I know I've dug out many a clump of arum lily in my time, rehabilitating farmland and things like that. And that's really one of the only ways we can get rid of it, is just dig it up and plant something there in its place, and hopefully that plant will take over and shade out some of those areas.
And
but
like all weeds, set seeds like
yes,
that.
Absolutely. But it grows on very heavy, wet ground as well.
And that is a key to weed control, is to actually make sure you replace it with something else, because there's no point leaving a barren bit of land, because some other weed will come along and take over again.
And it might be this next one, which is lantana. Lantana is a favourite garden plant, but it is just becoming established here in a few spots, and for that reason Lantana camara, which is the main species of which most of the colourful ones are, is no longer sold in nurseries. My perspective on this is it's a minor problem in Western Australia, but you go over to the other side of the continent, Wow, you can't walk through the bush for lantana. Terrible
Absolutely.
stuff.
I'm sure if there's people here from northern New South Wales, they'd be cursing that photograph right now. It is a really bad problem.
Well, we actually, if we go back far enough, we used to say that, oh, that'll never take off around here.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see little patches around the place. So,
The wonderful power of nature. It's called adaptation. And some plants are very good at it. Now, a favourite that you might be growing in your garden. It just pops up. It grows, dare I say, like a weed. Very colourful.
Yes, the nasturtiums.
Very edible, by the way.
Yes, they are. And a lot of people have either grown them for their flowers and their cottage appeal, but a lot of people, I can remember as a young child, eating nasturtium because that's what my parents grew. My darling wife, she's just grown some, and we're now seeing the weeds coming up through the lawn and things like that because they seed, they've got little runners and bits and pieces.
I think it took me 4 or 5 years to get rid of it.
Oh, thanks, John.
Yep. And it's well established, unfortunately, in the more fertile soils and damper soils. Okay, so what's next? The next one is a tree that's possibly got the worst common name of all. It's known as the tree of heaven, but if you've ever experienced this, it's Ailanthus is the botanical name, you will know it's actually the tree from hell because once established, it suckers and it grows so fast. And that sets more seed. And the flowers, by the way, have a smell that's reminiscent of fresh sewerage. So, I mean, it's not the most pleasant tree in the world. And if you do see it, it's on many Shires banned list. If you've got it, I would strongly suggest you remove it before your neighbours get it and you fall out totally with them. So that's the tree of heaven.
I was actually admiring your photo there, John, because I'm thinking that house must be, foundations must be having hell.
Yeah,
All right, let's quickly move to statice. One of those plants that, again, provides a lot of colour in the garden. This photograph is taken out in the wheat belt where there are ridges of statice all the way through. So free cedar, great survivor.
Yeah, probably quite poignant, so close to Mother's Day. They usually use the statice in the flower arrangements and things like that, and people think, oh, it'd be great to grow that. If it's in the flower arrangements, it must be good. And, well, so it is good, but it certainly is.
Dare we say statice has very poor status. The next one's interesting because we assume that weeds must come from overseas. That's why they're weeds. Local plants can't be weeds. They can. Geraldton wax is now classified as a weed in Western Australia. If you've ever grown one, you'll know that, well, we have these lots of different selected forms. They do seed and new plants do pop up. Yeah, so be careful with the wax even. And we mentioned this plant, I think it was last week, wasn't it?
We mentioned it last week. We also have an email that's quite poignant as well. The good old passion vine. It's generally suckers from your passion fruit. And this is one of the email questions that we've had. Somebody has a passion fruit growing and they've got suckers coming up all over the garden. And it's a very common problem. If you don't get onto those suckers by just literally pulling them up and ripping them out, they will take over like that photograph.
You've seen what you get because the rootstock that's used is remarkably tough.
Yes.
And
very vigorous.
And what that's actually showing us is the amount of where the roots go. They go far and wide and shows the folly of trying to fertilise the base of a passion fruit.
Yes.
Because it's going everywhere else except the base.
It's a great smotherer. Great smotherer.
Oh,
now, you caught a preview glimpse of the next one, which is the Flinders Range wattle. So, yes, the wattles can be a problem as well. Again, they seed very freely, and if they don't belong, and they can get established, and this one certainly is well established now.
Yes. Yep. Very common all through, well, just about everywhere, actually. I've seen it up my way on the coastal plain right up through to the hills, and it's usually the first one that seems to be in flower, and everyone likes it because it's quite a nice, attractive plant.
Just flowering now, starting to flower now.
Yep.
Interestingly, if we did a little weed list and we just went to wattles, we'd probably have about 50 of them for you right now, including the dreaded black wattles, but that's another story. Lastly, we're going to finish on a very popular cottage garden plant, and there are new cultivars of this coming out all the time. This is Lavandula stokas. It's the one with the two big sort of bunny ears sticking out of it. It is a shocking weed. If you need convincing of that, drive through the Jarrah forest in early spring and you will see everywhere it's cleared, just a whole stream of purplish, bluish. It's a terror.
Yeah, and they don't take much encouragement. We had lavender growing in our front garden, and the seeds, after I've taken the lavender out, the seeds have now germinated in cracks of a limestone wall
Yeah.
and thrived through the hot summer as well.
If it was one of those, they seed very freely.
Yes,
Some of the
yes.
other lavenders aren't quite
Yes.
as bad.
That's exactly right.
So that's a brief introduction to weeds. And no, I'm in your hands, gentlemen.
Yes.
We have calls. Do we have emails?
We do have a call, and I'd just like to remind people that they can call us 6468 5994.
And please turn the sound down on your TV.
Exactly. And also the emails, which we have a few of those as well, tv@beyondgardens.com.au. And please, a photograph helps
Enormously.
enormously.
We'll get and do a few emails in a moment, but first,
Yes.
that man to the phone.
We don't want to keep our caller waiting.
Hello, welcome to Beyond Gardens Live.
Hi, my name is Aaron.
Aaron? Yep.
Hi, I would like to ask fertilizers when and what. I have a few fruit trees in my backyard, 2 mangoes, a longan, grape, plums, and peach. What do you suggest?
Okay, you broke up a couple of times there, Aaron. I'm assuming it's what fertilizers can you use on your fruit trees? Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah, on fruit trees and when to do the fertilizing.
When to do it, yep. When they start getting some of the growth, the evergreens and things like that, now's not a bad time to do it. But again, as we've stressed in the garden myths earlier, a little and often is really the best way to go
always, yeah.
with our fruit trees and all of our plants as well. And also, you've raised quite a good topic there as well. You've rattled off a number of different plants here. There is only really one fertiliser that you need for your plants, and that's a general all-purpose fertiliser. But it must, and this is most importantly, particularly with those fruit trees, contain those trace elements, and preferably the more trace elements in there, the better.
Yes. So they are referred to as general purpose.
General purpose.
General purpose.
Yes, but again, turn the bag around. On the back of the bag, you'll see what it actually contains. By law, they have to. So you'll look for the 3 big ones, which is the NPK. Then you will look for all the trace elements underneath it. And there should be, in a good fertiliser, between 9 and 11 of them.
All right.
Yep.
Very important.
What about for the deciduous plants? When they go dormant in the winter, I don't fertilize them.
Oh, no, you certainly don't. You certainly don't. Plants will only accept nutrients when they're actively growing. So you don't. So ease off those during winter.
Yes. Yep.
Of the ones you mentioned, I think, the grape and the peach.
Yes.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't bother fertilising a grape.
The grape I wouldn't touch.
They've got such a terrific root system. Let your next door neighbour feed it for you. Okay? You don't have to bother. The peach, yes. The mango, longan, yes, I would be giving those a little bit of extra nutrition. And the mulch. We like to stress the importance of mulches as well.
And also,
I mulch it very thickly.
Yep, and also when you get into the warmer weather, after this transition of rain that we have, apply those wetting agents as well if you haven't done so already, because the water needs to be in the soil for those roots and things to take up the fertilisers and the nutrients.
And one last thing I'd say too is please get in the habit of turning the bag around and reading the label. They've normally got a recommended rate, but what we'd actually say to you is that try using half the amount that they're recommending and just take it easy, because so many fruits are actually spoilt by over-fertilising. We want flavour in these things, so just take it easy and apply when they're actually actively growing.
Absolutely.
Okay, and if you were wondering, by the way, one of the plants that was mentioned there was longan, in case you're wondering, and very similar to the lychee. This is what the longan fruit looks like. I think if you're growing a longan in your garden, you need a very big garden. Just be aware of that. The longan gets to be a very large tree indeed, and I do mean very large.
I do intend to crop it when it's about 7 feet high.
Yes, I think you might maybe be losing some of its productivity, but yes, you've got to keep. You're right to keep it in check. Yeah, lovely tree though. If you've got room for it, great tree.
Particularly if it's windy, it might be a good idea to keep it low.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
Thank you for your call. Let's dash off some of these emails quickly.
Yep,
with
we'll
less
go-
than a quarter of an hour remaining.
Yes, we'll go to a couple of quick emails
Okay.
here. We'd just like to talk to Hazel in Wanneroo here. She's got some jonquils. She likes growing her jonquils. They've been planted in the ground for a few years, but unfortunately they come up abundance of greenery, but no flowers.
Very, very common when you get plants that have been in the ground. I think that's the telling point for a considerable time. When that happens, they get crowded and they run out of resources. So they will manage to grow the leaf, but that's all they'll do. And the last thing that all members of the Narcissus family do, so jonquils, daffodils, etc., the last thing they do before they go dormant is to set next year's flower bud. So they have to have good growing conditions this year in order to get a flower next year. So what you do is divide them, and you will not get a flower next year. But the year after that, yep, you should.
Who better to answer that than the man from Araluen and the wonderful tulips?
Well, tulips are a little bit different.
A little bit different, but
if we were again talking about weeds, you could probably put jonquils on the weed list. Yeah.
Yep. Shall we just have one more quick email? And
Quick, come on, let's
get to some crews.
These good folk have gone to the trouble.
Yep, Julie's in Bibra Lake,
Yes.
between the freeway and the coast. She'd like us to suggest some small trees or shrubs that'd be suitable for screening. Well, that question there is almost how long's a piece of string, or how long have we got? We would certainly like to answer that question, but ideally, you can certainly take advantage of some of the wonderful nurseries down there, Julie, and also take advantage of some of the great websites, West Australian specific websites, specialising in native plants. Any of the native plants that growing in that area, suited to the soil type, suitable height, and will actually provide a fantastic screen for you.
There are a lot. Maybe we'll take note of that
Yes,
and come back next week with a list of plants.
Absolutely.
Write that down. Will you, John?
A screening.
Do we have more emails?
We've got a couple of callers.
Oh, okay. Well, let's say hello to our callers. And a reminder, if you are calling us, please turn down the sound on the television. Hello.
Hi, this is Pam. I'm in Greenwood. Can you hear me all right?
Yes. We can.
Good. I've got two native frangipani trees that are about 3 years old and they don't flower. What can I do?
Oh, no, I was hearing you all right, but I missed the name of the plant.
Native frangipani.
Native frangipani,
Yes.
was it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. They don't flower, 3 years old.
Wow.
Is it the large form or the small form?
Oh, I have no
I asked
idea.
because there is a dwarf form, but the big form, let me get a picture of the big form. There you go. This is what a mature tree looks like, and a big one, so it's sort of fairly columnar, but they are often grown from seed. And so it is that you might not get to see a flower like this until the tree matures, which 7, 8 years perhaps.
Okay.
So
You don't want to hear that, do you?
like most things, in
No.
life, good things are worth waiting for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of my mentors in gardening once drilled into me that the sign of a really good gardener is one who will put in a plant knowing that they themselves will never see it at maturity. Isn't that nice? Isn't that generous and sharing?
Do I need to fertilise?
No, that's not going to hasten the process at all. It's merely going to waste fertiliser. Yeah.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Thank you. Love your program. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, we've still got a few more calls.
More calls?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But I am determined to slip in some emails,
Yeah,
John.
yes, okay. Caller, are you there? Hello?
Yes, Mona.
Yes.
A buffalo. It's a year to go. Or runners. I planted. Now.
Sorry, caller, you're breaking up.
Well, look, I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've got buffalo and runners.
He's on a mobile, yep.
That's as far as I go. Oh, are you on a mobile? Yes, no?
Okay, we've lost him. Yep.
Were you
Okay,
on a
we're
mobile?
going on to the next caller. Good evening.
Sorry, because you just said something we need to straighten up. There is a problem with mobiles, is there? There can be a problem with mobiles.
Yeah, well, he's just dropped out, so...
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, the reception was not flash.
Sorry, John.
So, no, it's all right. The next caller is there. Hello, caller.
Hello, Ken.
Yep, hi.
Hello, my name's Alan from Mount Claremont. I
Yes.
have a great vine. I'd like to know, quick and easy, please, when is the best time to prune it?
Again, I missed the name of the plant, Alan.
It's a grapevine.
Grapevine.
When should I prune
Okay.
my grapevine?
Yeah. Now, there are two questions here, really. There is a when and there is a how. I can tell you the when, but I'm not sure I can tell you the how.
I think I know the how. I have a website, and
Okay.
I sort of think I know how to do it, though.
Well, for those who are wondering what I'm talking about, there are two basic methods of pruning grapevines, and different varieties respond differently to those two different methods. And if you're in doubt, then you do a bit of each on your grapevine. So we'll leave that alone for now. It's either cane pruning or it's spur pruning. But when is quite easy. August, middle of August, around about then.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let the
absolutely.
leaves drop, let it stop growing. Even then, grapevines are so vigorous that when you prune, you will probably still find some sap dripping out.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't let that worry you.
It looks as though a number of the stringers are all dead now anyhow, or dying.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are.
They're on
Yeah,
the way
but it's a slow, lingering, temporary death for the grapevine.
Okay, so,
So
August.
yeah, give it time, and you know, I say August is the time.
Okay, and if I may, another quick question, please.
Yes,
I have a Ned Kelly
passion vine.
passion vine, and it's been in for 2 years and nothing at the moment except that it's growing these long tentacles everywhere and had flowers but no growth, no passion fruit at this stage.
Not at all uncommon for Ned Kelly. Mind you, people have different opinions about the original Ned Kelly, don't they? He's a hero, he's an absolute mongrel.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of
and the
taking this one
grapevines
head
can
off.
be the same. Yes. I suggest at this stage for 2 years, just bear with it. Don't be afraid to give it a regular prune. It's probably growing like steam right now. Look, we'll
It is,
stop.
it's going everywhere,
Yeah.
including up into the trees.
Now the weather's cooled down a bit, it's going to stop
So when should
growing.
I prune?
Oh, you prune it now?
Yeah, you can
without
Prune it
hesitation.
now, okay.
Yep.
And how far back should you go?
Not too far. I would say if it's racing up a tree and there's still plenty of other growth down at ground level, you can cut all that stuff up the tree
certainly
off.
prune it off the trees.
But if you're looking at a plant that's retained on a support system, probably no more than a third.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Ken, for your help.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you for your call, Alan.
That actually brings up another issue too, because our friend Peter Coppin always talks about having two passion vines, pruning one in winter, one in summer, so you can extend the season when you get passion fruit.
The subject of pruning passion fruit has as many expert opinions as of pruning roses, so I'm not going to go there.
No.
Can I get the emails yet?
We have another caller, and
After this caller,
We are
we're going to do some
yes,
emails.
absolutely.
Okay, because we haven't got long
Yes,
left.
no,
Hello,
exactly.
welcome to Beyond Gardens Live.
Good evening.
Hi.
I have a hobby farm in Yellingup on the ridge. And I have beautiful conifers growing there, and they're gradually dying on me. They've been healthy over the last 15, 20 years, and they're suddenly, without any warning, slowly dying.
started to die off. Yes, that certainly sounds like the canker, one of the conifer cankers, Ceridium, is it?
Ceridium it
Ceridium,
is,
yeah.
yes. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering what I've done something.
It is-
I've done something rather silly here.
Okay.
And I don't know how to get out of it. I've got to explain to the technical people, I don't know how to get out of this.
Okay.
I'll try and put another picture over the top and see what happens. Okay, here we go.
Although-
so you're going to get a mixed picture here. All right.
Yeah, so there's the typical
pencil pines in the
golden
middle.
pencil pines,
Yep.
and dying from the top. Ceridium's one of those diseases where people think, well, sorry, when I was doing some of my horticulture on a property, I was told, oh, just prune it off, and it will all come good. Unfortunately, pruning is one of the worst things you can do to stop the Ceridium. It's actually a great way to increase it and spread it.
It's a really nasty one. It's a fungus
Yes, it's
spread by
horrible,
birds.
horrible.
Nothing you did. Okay, so it'll come in on the feet of birds. The only treatment that works, and not necessarily 100%, is to use phosphorus acid, which is sold in smaller containers as a fungicide. And if you have a large quantity or big trees to do, then you need to buy a larger container of it, which is normally sold as, I think, Fosject is the name of the larger container. It's not a nasty chemical. It's quite a benign one. It's the one that is used for dieback control. but it also does have an effect upon Ceridium or conifer dieback.
Actually, the chemical, I think, is actually what makes sherbet fizzy. So
Yes.
it's one of those things.
Fizzy sherbet and conifers. You've got to get to it quick.
Yeah.
This is the problem. And with conifers, once a part of the plant dies, that's it. I think there's only one out of all the conifers I know that you can actually generate some new growth on. Otherwise, once it's dead, it's dead.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your program.
Okay, sorry I
thank
can't be
Well
more optimistic about the chances there.
Okay, John,
night.
emails for you. Good night.
Okay, come on then, let's do some emails.
Gary, do you want me to read these?
Yeah,
or
you
are
better have a go.
Yeah.
I haven't
Let's
got
do
it.
some quick ones.
Okay.
Can I do? What's that?
All right, I will.
Well, we're a bit slow, come on.
No, sorry.
Come on. Been waiting for these for
Okay, we
ages.
have a question here from Molly Ann. She's asking, is horse manure an effective mulch
eat
for
that?
gardens, and does anything need to be added to it? Unfortunately, Molly Ann, horse manure is not a good mulch for gardens.
There we go. Oh, and they've got one-word answers.
Oh, yes, no.
Great for the compost.
Yes.
Right. Maybe mixing it with the soil. Mulch, definitely
Remember,
not.
mulch, rough, coarse, irregular shaped particles that holds little or no water.
Next, come on. This is lightning time. Really,
Okay,
very,
chickens
very
and
fast.
fruit trees. We have Leanne. I've recently put my chickens in the front garden with my young fruit trees. Will this be okay? No. They have been scratching around the base of the trees, kicking off the mulch. I'm hoping they don't get at the roots. I would say they are already getting
They
at the
do
roots.
tend to make a bit of a mess. Young trees in particular are susceptible to damage. Once they're established, not so much. But get some chicken wire, or better still, get some heavy-duty reinforcing material and put it around the base of the tree and then cover the mulch over that. Chooks will pull the mulch aside, but they can't get through the reinforcing.
Yeah.
Or chickens roasted, tastes quite nice.
Okay, we have our cereal spammer this week. If I pee on my lemon tree, will it grow better?
Yes.
Yep. Here they are
moderation.
again. Are the plants behind you real?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Would we have plastic ones?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. And the last email for this evening, because we're conscious of the time there, Rebecca from Subiaco. Is it okay to add oily organic matter to make compost such as olives and gum leaves? If so, what kind of percentage?
I mean, and the answer is yes.
Yes.
Because the oils get broken down. They're organic compounds. They get broken down in the compost process. What percentage is difficult? Can I answer it this way? I have a friend who makes compost out of eucalyptus leaves, pure eucalyptus leaves.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's beautiful compost.
And-
Slow, but really good.
But make sure you're actually composting and not just letting it rot. So we need the temperature to kick everything off.
Yep.
It should be so hot when you first start that it'll burn your hands if you touch it. And that's composting, not the other thing that you hear about all the time.
So as hot as I like my coffee, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Asbestos gut.
Okay.
Okay.
We have
They were
very brief time left. What are we going to do? Handle another
very-
email quickly?
No, we haven't got time. I think we'll talk about our upcoming workshops.
We
Or
better
shall
have.
we talk about, upcoming workshops.
Okay,
should have a
let's try this and see what happens. I've left that picture in the background, but that's all right.
That's fine. Okay, we have coming
tomorrow
up
night?
events. Yes.
Tomorrow
At
night,
Harrisdale?
Harrisdale, there's actually 20 more seats left. We've got 100 venues, so...
Okay.
Morley's a daytime one, so that's for people who don't like to go out at night time. Les Murdy has just started advertising, so you only got a few to fit in there, so you better hurry up.
And we will be at Gidgegannup Show.
And it's actually Gidgegannup Field Day, I forgot, sorry.
Gidgegannup Field Day.
Yeah, so I'm naughty.
Okay.
The people who emailed should have already been contacted, and your tickets are in the mail.
Okay, and for more details or to book for those workshops, go to that address that was on the bottom, right? beyondgardens.com.au. There's the web page you will land up to. Go to events, and you can book on events and get into our workshops that way. And you'll also find details of future workshops. We just put up the few in the immediate future right now.
And a new feature in there too is if you go to our Beyond Gardens Live, you'll see links to YouTube of past episodes. So,
Okay.
Yep.
So if you didn't watch us live, now this is going to get complicated.
Or you-
You can watch us on Saturday
Saturday.
when I'm not live, or you can watch it later on when we're even less live than we are right now.
If we were ever live.
Is that,
If we're ever alive, yes.
it's all getting far too confused. It remains for us to thank our sponsors for the program who enable it to come to you, the Water Corporation, the City of Swan, the City of Stirling and the City of Mandurah, and to the great technical team here at WTV who put it all to air. We're very grateful for all of that, and to you, of course, for taking part. Don't forget, you can email us during the week, tv@beyondgardens.com.au. That's when it's all going to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
On behalf of John and Gary and myself, thanks for your company. We really do appreciate it, and we look forward to your company again, same time next week. Goodbye.